We interviewed Jersey City Public Safety Director James Shea before the onset of the active shooter exercise.
We've been doing this with our outside company here since 2015, and we've been steadily improving the capabilities of our units, and we've actually brought more units and more partners into it. It began with an attack on the civilians in the store, and then our officers who were posted a block away immediately responded to the sound of the gunfire heroically, placed themselves in the line.
It began at the Bayview Cemetery, where Detective Seals was shot dead in the head. The perpetrators grabbed the U-Haul truck and made it to 223 MLK Drive. 223, of course, is 322 backwards, and that's just where the story begins to get interesting, ladies and gentlemen.
It began with an attack on the civilians in the store.
It began at 223, and here you can see an image of the location with the U-Haul truck right there. No perpetrators, no windows shot out. And of course, they said that the perpetrators immediately got out of the van, the U-Haul van, and began shooting at this location. This did not happen, as they say, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, we've seen this type of story before. Shootings at the Kosher Deli. Who remembers this footage here where the police are just shooting right through themselves? And we'll get back into that footage, as well as the perpetrator rushing the police officers, with his hands already cuffed. And this is just part of the action, to say the least. Let's see if we can replay this footage where the police are just actually shooting blanks right through the front lines. And you can see that quite clearly right there. You've got all of the special effects, all of the Gladio B hallmarks, to say the least. And, they're finding the IDs, right there, left behind by the perpetrators and the like the passports that flew through the World Trade Center. We've seen this over and over again. But this astonishing link between the Joseph Goebbels of Jersey City, this
We
guy
interviewed
here.
Jersey City Public Safety Director James Shea before the onset of the active shooter exercise.
We've been doing this with our outside company here since 2015.
They've been doing this with their outside company, Tomahawk, since 2015. And they've become experts at staging these types of events, ladies and gentlemen. And we've got some remarkable footage of their drills. And you've got the blood, you've got the victims, you've got the police officers dressed in their paramilitary gear, just like you saw in the footage yesterday. And we'll see them with their military fatigues. We'll see fake blood everywhere. We'll see them firing blanks and the like. And so the question is, how real are these events that we see on television? And of course, we've seen the inconvenient witnesses before, wearing the Freemason hats and the like, and, much, much more, to say the least. It's just a matter of time before this story begins to unravel before our very eyes, and it's already starting to look that way to most people out there. The story is beginning to shift. They're not wanting to answer questions about what happened at the cemetery, what was going on with the U-Haul truck. They held the names of the perpetrators for as long as they could, and we're getting those names now. Anderson and Graham, seems like a Bonnie and Clyde couple were responsible. But this perhaps is the picture that sinks the entire story. You've got the U-Haul truck right there at the location at 322, 223, and no shots have been fired. No perpetrators there, and you just have to wonder what's really going on, ladies and gentlemen, and that truly is the nature of what we're dealing with. Now, we could play some of the clips here where they're trying to evade questions from reporters about the detective, about the U-Haul truck, about what happened at the cemetery, about what actually happened at this 322 location. Here are the perpetrators, and of course their background is trying to make it seem like this was some sort of attack by people of faith on other people of faith. Of course, this is not what's going on out there. There's nothing but Judases in disguise, people pretending to be priests while they're molesting kids, and you can never really trust people by, their representatives.
It began with an attack on the civilians in the store. And then our officers who were posted a block away immediately responded to the sound of the gunfire.
Immediately responded. The actors were there on location, ladies and gentlemen. Now, what else is fascinating about this particular story is that we're not seeing any evidence of gunshots for the most part, certainly not the hundreds of rounds. We have seen a couple images of gunshots, and we're starting to ask questions about, who's this mop-up crew? It seems like they've got their own special kind of service out there, and we'll see if we can bring that up again. But this is one of the few bullet holes that were pictured anywhere. One in the back door, and we've got another one in the box in the bottom right here. You can probably see a little hole there. Otherwise, the question is, where did these hundreds of rounds of ammunition end up, ladies and gentlemen? Because we're not seeing it anywhere. We're seeing basically the inventory completely intact, and this is the special service. What is this service? Emergency Services and Recovery. Is this part of the city's emergency program? They look like they look like they might be police officers. They got the badge, they got the gear, but who's heard of this in America? What is this security service and the like? This is an image from Google Maps of this 322 location, and this is the image from the day of the shooting with the U-Haul truck. Now, where are the gunmen? The official story says that they got out of the U-Haul van and immediately opened fire. Where's the proof of that? We don't see that. In fact, what we're seeing is the evidence contradicting the official narrative, and that's why they're starting to backtrack, ladies and gentlemen, as fast as they can, to say the least. But here in this image, all of the inventory looks intact. Where are the bullet holes? That's the question that people are going to want to know the answer to. Now, as far as, these people at this store, what happened to them really is another question. Usually in these Gladio B events, the victims are real. It's just that the official narrative is something completely different. And so, this mop-up crew might, really be doing their job. You see what looks like blood on the floor there. And so you can't really call, them into question or suspect their involvement because you've got, the city officials there that are completely involved, backtracking, changing their stories, as well as being linked to these, these organizations that orchestrate these types of exercises and drills. So what we know, from the first day is that it started at the cemetery and then it went to 322 MLK. But now they're not wanting to answer questions about what really happened to this detective, and it almost seems like the detective is still out there somewhere, according to the press conference that we heard yesterday. Perhaps we can play a little bit of that for you right now, if the video guy is going to cooperate. But we'll also play this clip where they're trying to basically evade questions about the cemetery, the detective, and all of that stuff.
We're not at liberty to disclose the names of any of the victims or the actors at this point.
Traveled from the cemetery here slowly and captured that on
We'll provide more information later today as it becomes available.
Yeah, thank you.
So, was he off duty in Garfield in the cemetery, or what was he doing there?
No, Detective Seals was working.
He was working and he came across the suspect?
I really don't want to get into those details. I can just say that he came upon bad guys, and I don't know how he got there just yet.
He's a detective?
He's a detective.
He's a detective. He is a detective. So he's using the present tense, which makes us think that he's still out there somewhere. Let's hope that they are. what's really, shady about these operations is that immediately they're...
Again, with an attack on the civilians.
Yeah, of course it did. They immediately like quarantine the area. You can't get close. You can't see what's going on. And, they're withholding information. The story changes. The evidence doesn't really match up with what they're saying. And, before you know it, the story will disappear and nobody will think about it ever again. They'll just be talking about, gun control for the most part. And there's really little footage. There's very little footage of the actual operation in front of the store. And the question is, how did it go from a regular looking store to the front being just totally blown out? And we're actually getting some 9/11 actors. He dropped his gun there during the drill. But we're getting information that 9/11 actors were the hero to this operation. Links to Giuliani's police department and the like. And so, the story, the rabbit hole just keeps getting deeper and deeper, to say the least. But it's pretty much just an active shooter drill. They're using blanks. They're using crisis thespians, if you will. And then they just kind of whitewash the whole thing with some other kind of story. And, that probably wasn't the most troubling aspect to what's going on here. I think we've got some other footage where we see, these gangbangers just dancing around as the shooting is happening. It's like a war zone, and they're rapping, and they're just, doing the robot out there. Well, everybody will be doing the robot as soon as the assimilation comes in, as soon as Elon Musk's Neuralink comes in. You'll be doing the robot then, sheeple. But just to see, these people kind of like rapping, dancing, celebrating, really makes you think that we've got to deport the libtards ASAP. And we don't need gun control. We just need ghetto control. And as soon as we can, basically empty out the ghettos, the country will be a safer place. People like this that are dancing and rapping while it's a war zone on your city streets tells you that they're part of the problem and not part of the solution. But there's bigger fish to fry. It's this new world order. It's this Department of Evil that's out there, that's orchestrating these Gladio B events, planting evidence, staging coups, fueling endless wars. Here they are firing more blanks, more, active shooter drills, fake blood everywhere, and the like. And this is how the story rolls. This is what's actually going on the television, and it's not what they make it seem to be. It's completely different. And the evidence is already overwhelming in this case, not only the numerology and the like, but also this image of the store with the U-Haul truck. And this is what it was before they blew apart the front with an armored vehicle. They just rolled in with an armored vehicle and supposedly shot the perpetrators, which tells us that all of the action happened in this store, despite other reports. And there's just no evidence of a major shootout happening anywhere. I mean, all the inventory is intact. You hardly see any bullet holes anywhere. If you compare it to the UPS truck footage where the cops were using, children as a human shield, literally, that truck was just kind of like, blown away. You had bullet holes everywhere. I'm sure we've got, an image of that somewhere. We didn't preload it, and so it's going to look real ghetto if I bring it in here. But, you could clearly see the bullet holes, and here you just can't see any of it. And so we'll probably just have to leave the UPS truck for another broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. But this picture here blows away the official story, because according to the official story, the perpetrators, immediately exited the vehicle and unloaded, blowing away the front windows and the like, killing people, in front of the store and in the store and the like. And this evidence here refutes that completely. Now, it does look like people were shot. It does look like there's blood on the floor. Is it real blood? Is it fake blood? What's going on? That is the question, ladies and gentlemen. And unfortunately, with the current environment, you can't really do, a proper investigation because of the cover-up, because of the complicity of government agencies and the like. And, it's all the more reason to dismantle the FBI. I think if anything, after the IG report and all this stuff where it came out that they were planting evidence, that they were lying to the American public about their investigations and misleading everybody to frame this president, I think it just shows us how dangerous these organized crime syndicates are, like the FBI and like some of these major police departments that are organized like a counterintelligence agency. And, we should be dismantling some of this hierarchy, but that's going to have to be a debate for another broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have to leave it there. Please support our broadcast at patreon.com/STF News. It is difficult putting these, these reports together. It takes a lot of time, and we need your help to reach as many people as we can. So support our show at patreon.com/STF News. We'll have to leave it there for this broadcast. Remember that this is about the epic struggle of good versus evil. It's not about Republican versus Democrat. They're all on the same team, just providing some kind of show, some kind of entertainment to keep people distracted and fighting each other. They want to disarm you. They want to genocide you. They're poisoning the food, the air, the water, and they're indoctrinating your children. They're grooming your children in public schools, turning them into, brainwashed zombies out there that are rapping during, a full-on urban war and the like. And that's just, part of the delirium that we're up against. What is this Secret Service that we're seeing here? What is really going on with this location at 322 or 223 MLK Drive out there? What really happened to Detective Sears? Those are the questions that people want to know the answers to, ladies and gentlemen. So hopefully this will give people the basis for a more, for a broader investigation. But unfortunately, everybody's being censored and silenced right now, and it's only going to get worse. They're coming after your guns. They're coming after your free speech. This isn't the America that we grew up in anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody knows that. We've gone from the happy days, Leave It to Beaver, to whatever, is going on out there today. And, to say the least, it's messed up. So support our broadcast, patreon.com/STF News. Check us out at stfnreport.com. And be sure to like and subscribe to the various pages that you might be seeing this on. Till the next time, if you're listening to this, ladies and gentlemen, you are the resistance.